weird doing a video shoot by yourself. How you doing? Good to see you. Happy Monday. I had a really bad night. How was yours? All I'll say about it is that I had an episode of rage to deal with that was in the early evening into the night. I slept with it and woke up with it, and I had to do about 2 hours of work this morning to get myself out of it. And it is that kind of state that is how I trained myself to do this work, because I was in such a severe mental health crisis. And it isn't just a meditation. You have to stretch. And I just want to say I did a thing with the chakras that involves sound and sound bath therapies, listening to soundscapes of certain hertz that are, you can Google, you know, sound therapy for liver disease, and they'll tell you what frequencies to use, and you play those. They're like an hour and stuff like that. Do that. That's important, whether it's oils or teas or meditation. When these holistic medicines, they're all very gentle, but how you make them strong is by layering them in. You don't just take an essential oil the way you do it regularly when you're in a crisis. You diffuse it in a diffuser, you put it in a capsule and drink it, and you use it on your skin. You find extra ways and extra strengths. You're not really going to hurt yourself with any of those things. And you just, I've had mental health crises where doTERRA mixes, I've used a whole bottle. I practically poured it over my head in a day or two. And they really do help keep you away from the edge. So I strongly recommend you understanding that when you are in a crisis, you need to use layers of holistic things. I don't want to talk too much today. So we're going to do what we did yesterday. And in my crisis this morning, it helped me go a little further in what we started last week with some landscaping images. So I thought I would use what I learned about myself today as an example. I can talk through what happened to me and the healing that I went through this morning, and maybe you can figure out how that applies to your images and your landscape. So if you just started with us, welcome. I'm going to review the structure that I gave yesterday, and here it is. We are going to take mudras, thumb and first finger together. We're going to breathe in and out in a deep pranic breathing. We're going to hold our breath, and then we look down and in, up and in, and pulse. It's a lot better with your eyes closed. You can get the tension right. I'm doing it with my eyes open so you can see it. Then you switch fingers. We're doing that 6 times, first 6 breaths with 6 different hand positions. Then your hand position goes to the 2 on the thumb, 2 first fingers on the thumb. The breaths 7, 8, and 9 are the prana, light coming in through your bottom and top tubes, meeting in your belly and forming a little light sphere that grows constantly. So that's an interesting thing, because it's one-way energy, whether you're breathing in or out, and the sphere grows, it becomes golden. And on the 10th breath, we employ a technique of resisting the breath for a minute with puffed cheeks and then letting go, and it creates this momentum in your breath that serves a purpose in the light exercise. I will demonstrate right now. That's what that is. When we do that, we go from the light sphere in the belly to the light sphere around the body. You spend 3 breaths stabilizing that by picturing a triangle between your 2 hands and your third eye, and just fill that circle around your body that you've created through the light that's come in through the cosmos and started in your belly, surrounds you. And then the last thing we're going to do is on breath 13, you change your mudras to left hand over right, your thumbs touching, and you go from your cord where you did the light belly thing, and you lift that up to your heart on the in-breath of 14, and then we stop there, and I'll improvise from that point on. So here we go. Take a couple warm-up breaths, and realize that pranic breathing is even. It doesn't really matter if it's even. It's just that it's deep and it's practically even. We're not really paying attention to that part. You're breathing in and out with some vigor. Breathe in hard. And breathe out hard. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. Here we go. Thumb and first finger together. We're going to breathe in. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Down and in. Eyes down and in. Eyes down and up. Pulse. Next finger and thumb. In. Out. All the way out. Stop breathing. Eyes in. Up. Pulse. Fourth finger, and it's really the third one, but the fourth finger in your hand and thumb. In, out. Hold your breath. Down and in. Eyes down and up. Pulse. Pinky and thumb. Breathe out. Eyes down and in. Eyes down and up. Pulse. Do it with your eyes closed. Thumb and first finger again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Eyes down and in. Eyes down and up. And pulse. Last one. Next finger. In. Out. Eyes down and in, eyes down and up, pulse. Two fingers together with the thumb, light flowing in through the prana tubes on the breath from both ends. Meeting in the middle of your belly and creating a little sphere of light. While you blow out, the little sphere gets bigger. It's like a rush of energy and light. You can pretend it's water and picture it flowing in and flowing up. The breath 8, it come in again. The ball keeps expanding. Breath out, the ball intensifies and gets to its biggest size, the size of a full-term pregnancy. Breathe in on breath 9, and the ball is intensifying in color and turns from white to gold. Oh, wow, that feels so good somehow. The sun used to be gold. Breathe out on 9. 10, breathe in and prepare to do the breath thing. And when you release, you're going to resist the breath. And when you blow out, you blow that bubble up to all the way around you. And the bubble expands to encompass you. And you're floating in your own little embryo of light. Breath 11, breathe in, and it is your job to stabilize this light by adding a triangle to the middle of it between your hands and your third eye. Breathe in, breath 12. Picture a triangle in front of you. Third eye at the top, 2 fingers on the bottom. Breath 13. Breath 13 out and change your mudras, prepare. And on the in-breath of 14, you are going to detach from your navel and attach to your heart. And put your hands back. And release. See, that's only a couple minutes long. You are going to stay right here for a minute and just enjoy what you have created. A bubble of light from the cosmos has gone into your body. You've cleared the magnetic lines in your pineal gland and it's spinning. And your baby of light is now, you are inside of that. A bubble of light that is stabilized and allowing you to float away in fourth dimensional consciousness. Might as well take you through what I did this morning on the chakras. Picture your red chakra. It's in the base of your pelvis. Spin it to the right. Now instead of climbing them today, we're just going to go one by one. Spin the red one to the right and realize that it has a sound that goes with it. It is the sound of LAM, L-A-M. So you're going to breathe in and then breathe out as long as you can. You're not singing. You're just saying LAM. Here we go. And you say, you vibrate your nose and your mouth on the ah sound for as long as you breathe out, and then we move on to the next one. Here we go. Red spinning to the right, LAM. Next one, orange spinning to the left. It is Ram. Ram. Here we go. Breathe in. The whole time you're saying it, you just picture the ball spinning in the direction. Orange spinning to the left. Go. Going up one, yellow to the right is VAM, V-A-M. Here we go, breathe in to the right, the yellow. Right here, spinning to the right. Good. Heart chakra, green, spins to the left. The word is YAM, Y-A-M, like my son's band. All right, here we go. Good. Light blue in the middle of the throat. It's the sky, it's the truth. It spins to the right. The mantra is HAM, H-A-M. Light blue spins to the right. Here we go. Light blue in the middle of the forehead. Door to the other world. I'm sorry, dark blue. Dark blue spins to the left. Electric, feminine, magnetic. The word is OM, O-M, which you can picture as A-H and think O. Up on top, purple. Spins to the right. Electric, masculine. Right spinning. The sound is OM. Again, O-M, but you think in your mind A-W-E, awe. awe instead of A-H. A-W-E, awe. It's bigger, wider. Here we go. Purple in, spinning to the right. It's a little like that sedative breathing, or, you know, the whole musicianship thing where you have a small breath in and a long breath out, and by the end you can kind of feel. So it's not about a kaleidoscope thing we follow with our eyes that time. It was about keeping it spinning while you make a vibration noise in your face. Let the noise float. You get the position ready in the back of your mouth with the vowel, and you let it go. And you literally try to make it last, like you do those breaths in the long count. So you're doing like a 4 breath in and a 24 out. Okay, last thing for today is the landscape. Now that we're warmed up, we're going to step into our psychic landscape, and I'm going to talk about me because I'm the only one here right now. My psychic landscape last week, when we were talking about it, came out kind of dry. I've been surrounded by a lot of dead corn, and the 2 images I was just throwing out some exercises, something I'm good at, my skills at photography, and I thought of a firecracker. And something I don't like about myself is my quickness to anger, my rage, and that image came up quick as a barking dog. And so in living with those 2 images for a little bit, I started to actually have some experiences of rage, and I thought, well, you know, like you do about dreams, well, the barking dog is the rage. And then I went into a real fit of rage, and that didn't help me at all to see, you know, I mean, the test of your images and how you work with them is that when you get the placement of things right, kind of like understanding your dreams, you it breaks, something changes. And picturing the literal interpretation of like a angry Rottweiler that I become when I'm angry, it didn't do anything. And so I sat down with myself and began to work through the geometry in my head as far as the images. And when I got to go, I think it was through the sound thing, I realized that my rage is really me choking myself, and that the dog is trying to get me to stop doing that. The dog is actually my friend. It's so convoluted how these things get turned around, you know, that because of that image of the black dog or the angry dog or the dog that bites, you know, when the dog is the one there saving you, kind of. And so I let the dog come to me, and I took this, it's like clamps that are like rotary, like they have them on vape pods sometimes, or you know, where they just tighten down on a screwdriver head, an exchangeable screwdriver head, where you screw the top part in tight, like that. That's what happens to me when I get full of rage. I absolutely, because one of my things of rage is like a really sharp tongue, is like saying things that are just evil. And I feel like I mean them when I say them. The thing I learned, I have a liver disease, and I found my liver disease because of behavioral problems with rage and seeing a good shrink. And you know how love lives in your heart and your intuition lives in your belly? Well, I found out that your anger lives in your liver, and when your liver is suffering, you get really punchy and quick to anger and short-tempered. And when I was doing the sound thing this morning in the sun, and I was going around this area of my liver, there was like a black hole there. Now, I'm not saying I went into a rage because my liver is unhealthy right now, but it's just my weak spot, and it's why my symptoms come up in rage, perhaps. But I do it to myself. You know, nobody triggers you. I hate that word trigger. It's violent. And when you get into that kind of state, nobody suffers but yourself. Or maybe like yourself. I guess you do cause a lot of suffering around you. But my point about dealing with anger and my shrink and where it lives in your body is that anger is considered a secondary emotion. There's something underneath it. And what it is sadness. If you could just find out what you're sad about and own it, then you begin the healing. All you have to do is look at things in order to deal with them and let them go. It's like just being diagnosed so you can manage stuff, but you do it through images. Anyway, that was my big discovery, is that when I gave myself that image of the dog, I interpreted it literally, lived with it. The anger came up on me twice, really bad last night. And then in sitting down to deal with that dog, I realized that I literally had some kind of object around my neck choking me. And the dog, Lassie style maybe, I don't know. And I'm not done. I'm not like, it doesn't mean, you know, I was talking to my daughter a little while ago and I got worked up about, you know, I'm away from the edge. I'm able to stop foaming at the mouth and get to some of my chores. So that's good. I know that most of you are doing this because of the mental health issues we're all dealing with, and I've never had anything as good as this. So that's enough talk about me. Let's go back into the landscape and try to come up with some productive structure for you. What were your images last week, and how do you want to change them? Those were two images that sparked up. I could talk on and on about the photography and the firecracker, but that isn't very deep yet in terms of living with it. But the point is, you put these images in your life, you live with them, and they come back around. It isn't like a short thing here. I'm threading up something we're going to work with over and over again, and so are you. What kind of earth, what kind of floor are you able to walk around your own landscape and not be drunk, not be like out of control? Do you feel like, what part of your psyche needs to be contained? And that doesn't mean you're repressing things. See, that's it. To go from repression to healing doesn't work. You have to at least allow the stuff to come up, and then you have to contain it. Not with the idea that you're repressing it, but the idea that you'll get back to it. It's there. It's on the shelf. Tupperware it in, airtight. And then when you have some quiet heart time, like I did with myself this morning, I was forced to. I was absolutely ready to go to the hospital with rage. You deal with the issues, you put them back on the shelf, and then you'll come on up. But it's not this, you know, it's not this hard thing, you know. It creates a more fluid sense of, yes, I know I'm damaged. I know I have to own my own shit. But it isn't a solvable problem in one thing. Like my mom used to say to me, it took you years to get into this, it's going to take you years to get out. And that's just the truth, you know. So you tip the ship upright, you get your rudder and your moral compass set to the North Star. You use the angels and your spirit guides and your animals and your, you know, my motto of my thing is spa hard. You need to spa hard. That means a lot of salt baths. That means a lot of walks in the woods. I have to stop now. But do this work and walk into your psychic landscape and come up with a few more images about yourself, about the parts of yourself that you need to contain in order to have a peaceful day. All right. I love you. Bye.